Who would have thought we would be seeing the job mobility we are witnessing today in Japan? This is a recent phenomenon and it will become a bigger topic for discussion going forward. The inability of companies to hire enough young people because of the decline in the youth population will see companies get into bidding wars to grab the talent. The winners will be those who train their middle managers on how to retain these young people. The losers will be left wondering, what is going on? Welcome back to this weekly edition, every Tuesday, of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President of Dale Carnegie Training in Japan and the best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery. We're bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center here in Akasaka in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking so that we will be at the forefront, the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. Japan's number of children has dropped to a new low, the 37th consecutive year to see this decline. There are 15.5 million children defined as anyone younger than 14. The population of children peaked in 1954 at 30 million, so it is effectively halved in the post-war period. The ratio of children to the rest of the population is now down to 12.3%, another new low. That ratio is the lowest among countries with a population above 40 million. This will only intensify the competition for talent in companies in Japan as the raw supply of young people keeps going down. This is episode number 32, and we are talking about leading the next generation. それでは行きましょう. So, let's get going. Japan is entering a scary world of work. The tried and true assimilation methods for the past, for injecting youth talent into firms, are starting to falter. Every generation feels a gap with its successor, but the size of the impending chasm in Japan is generating fresh challenges. The bankruptcy of Yamaichi Securities in 1997 put loyal staff on the street. This was a post-war watershed in the company staff contract, shocking at the time. It was followed by something much worse, the Lehman Shock, starting in 2008. The expected compact of lifetime employment security in return for total devotion was now revealed to be a mirage. Millennials, defined as those becoming adults around the year 2000, are the first generation to collide with two major trends: being fired when your company right-sizes and a youth population decline. The end of the old order has created skepticism amongst young people about the relevancy of their parents' experiences to their own. The employment reality now is different. The Dai-ni Shinsotsu, or the second graduates, is a relatively new phenomenon where 3 or 4 years into their first job, 30% are graduating from their employer and heading off to find another workplace more to their liking. Unthinkable in their parents' time. This is free agentism, Japanese style, and a big cost to companies who invested in training these new entrants, only to see them vote with their feet and depart. At different times, it has been poor pickings for varsity graduates in Japan to find a full-time job. That era is drawing to a close. There are now half the number of 14 to 24-year-olds in Japan than there was 20 years ago. The Tandai or 2-year colleges are no more because today's youth can much more easily enter 4-year universities. These millennial kids have choices. You don't have to be a genius to see what is coming around the corner. The war for recruiting and keeping youth is going to hot up. A smaller pool of available hires and a newfound freedom to jump out without any social stigma is empowering this millennial generation in new ways. Abenomics may have been a conjurer's trick, but it has boosted share prices, improved profits for exporters, and many companies are now cashed up to the point of making bankers wail and weep. My own unscientific survey of job resume numbers for salespeople over the last 4 years has seen a drying up of supply for those under 40. Market demand for the young seems to be getting stronger and stronger. The issue is going to be how to attract these millennials to your company and then how to keep them happy enough to stay with you. By the way, how good are your supervisors in mollycoddling the young? Given most current managers were raised on being yelled at by their bosses and being worked like dogs, the answer is probably not very promising. Middle management's expectations are to hand out what they got, but this undoubtedly won't be very successful. Millennial training formula needs to be different. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. The bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery, is the new Bible of selling in Japan. To sell to Japanese buyers, you need to create long-term partner-level trust, fully understand Japanese buyers' real needs, convince buyers with your solutions, overcome their hesitation, fear, and doubt, know how to ask for the order, ensure repeat orders. This book is the product of 30 plus years in the trenches selling in Japan. Order Japan Sales Mastery now. Welcome back. There are 30 human relations principles outlined in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And they seem tailor-made for dealing with millennials. Sage advice like, don't criticize, condemn, or complain will perfectly address delicate youth sensitivities. Remember, we don't leave companies, we leave bosses. Whining, harping bosses will see a rush to the door by their new company entrants. Principles such as talk in terms of the other person's interests, be a good listener, encourage others to talk about themselves, be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires will be a challenge for supervisors who like to do all the talking and directing. Communication skills in general will be a big issue for bosses dealing with the young. The penalties for not getting it will be severe. Companies are well advised to retrain their leaders to deal with this hotly contested youth worker supply problem. Otherwise, they may find they cannot engage or keep this next generation. So what's that going to do to the firm's succession planning? Long-term planning is a Japanese forte, but it will all become fodder for an MBA case study if company leaders mess it up and lose their successor generation. OJT, on-the-job training, will not deliver anything worthwhile in this regard. Mediocre managers passing on a diluted version of what they learnt from their own mediocre seniors was always a dubious Japanese training construct. The juice has well and truly been fully squeezed from the Japanese OJT stone. Organisations will also be more attractive in recruiting and keeping millennials if they have more relevant training on offer for them. The same tired induction training courses or the functional position, rotation, progression throughout the firm are not satisfying millennials. They lack experience, so they want practical information, not lecture or theory. They want concrete skills to make them more successful, and they want them now. Prepare your organisation for this brave new world of Japanese millennials, or brace yourself for the unfolding nightmare. Action items: recognise the demographic trend is not in your favour. Educate your leaders to become better communicators. Embed Dale Carnegie's 30 principles of human relations into your company culture. Provide practical skill training for the millennials. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube, share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember to hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now, dalecarnegie.com. It is an awesome value site, so check it out. In episode 33, we are talking about presentations can be scary. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you, and we have only one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up.